We have a very, very interesting event in store for you. It's a great combination, practically equal cars and COTA. You can't go wrong with that, you know. But, anyways, let's get into it in a moment's time. Okay, so here is your grid here today. Lando Norris lines up on pole with Charles Leclerc just behind him in P2 with Valtteri Bottas third, Max Verstappen in fourth, Oscar Piastri fifth, Théo Pourchaire sixth, Sergio Perez down in P7 leading the two Ferraris as Antonelli is in eighth, Russell ninth, and Carlos Sainz P10 with Yuki Tsunoda just behind in 11th, Daniel Ricciardo 12th, 13th is Lawson, 14th is Colapinto, 15th is Lewis Hamilton. Really lacklustre performance there with his teammate up in P4, Fernando Alonso P16, Gasly 17th, Albon 18th, Behrman 19th, and last but not least, Isaac Hadjar in P20 as per usual. Hello to Rodrigo and Louis. I did see just in my zone for a moment. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's get into the 17th race of this season. It's crazy how this started about 3-4 weeks ago, and we're already in the final third of the season.
United States Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Let's quickly retire the two cars at the back, as Antonelli has taken a grid drop here, and we can now say lights out and away we go, can't we? As Norris, perfect start, he's clear of Red Bull, as you can now see Leclerc fighting Bottas through the S's we go. Will the Red Bulls make contact? No, as Leclerc did get squeezed wide a bit. Yes, we are in fact doing 24 as is this season, Rodrigo, as they power their way down the hill into the hairpin now on the first lap of the 17th race out of the 24. We are so close to the end, and the title fight really looks like it's Norris versus Perez, but not Norris versus Perez, Norris versus the second of the two Ferraris at the moment of George Russell. Russell a fair bit back from where he'd hoped to be. He's in P8, while his championship rival is actually 1 second clear at the front. But anyways, DRS is now labelled. You can see there Théo Pourchaire and Leclerc both having a look on their respective on-track rivals, as if you just follow them through. No, that was my mistake. Checo isn't. He's fighting Leclerc and Pourchaire over third in the standings. But now, let's see if there's going to be a move. Bottas and that look a bit too far back, but there's Pourchaire up into P5 as the Ferrari swap. But Perez is going to fight back on George Russell. Russell has to wait another lap. George Russell fended off by Sergio Perez, and therefore he's still P8 as Bottas has just made a move for the lead. Onto lap 3 we go. You can see just further back there's Max Verstappen promoting himself, as there was another attack launched by George Russell, yet unable to do it, as Sergio Perez just capable of defending in that Ferrari of his, as he could really become quite frustrating for his teammate and run up in championship, as there's Norris regaining the lead here, and just further back Pourchaire making a move for P5, as the Ferraris also had a little tussle once more but wasn't able to settle it. But now onto the fourth lap of 56. We are rapidly approaching the 10th mark here, as Bottas to the inside of Lando Norris. He will take the lead, as you can see just further back Leclerc pulling a bit offline to try and have a launch at Piastri, but wasn't able to. And now you can just see Piastri really slingshotting himself through each and every corner, whilst tucked up nicely behind Lando Norris. And now Piastri DRS on Norris, who has DRS ever so slightly on Bottas, wasn't able to get past, but who has got past was Porsche for a brief moment, as Verstappen has held him off, but the fight continues. Through the triple right-hander we go. Verstappen gains the place, and he hangs on to P5, as you can just see Sergio Perez now all over the back of the V-carb, and Sauber to the inside goes Porsche. Up into P5 he goes, as Perez also had a moment where he thought maybe I could get that move done, but didn't do it in the end. As you can see, this race is really split up in its own fight. The top 4, then 5th down to 8th, then 9th down to 17th, then Hadjar and Antonelli at the back, being them usual selves. As there's a Leclerc dueling with Piastri, the two Red Bulls go to war here in COTA, as Piastri's really picked up some form as of recent compared to his teammate, yet DNFs have plagued him. How's Danny already got a mechanical problem? Alpine shit. Not much else I could say to that, but yeah. Anyways, we will drop a bit further back down the order to P9. It's fight over 2 points, but it spans quite a long way, all the way down to P17 really, this train. Lawson a bit disconnected. Yeah, it weren't your fault, it was your previous TP's fault. But yeah, anyways, Sainz versus Tsunoda. Will there be a move? You can see there's a move brewing between McLarens and Tsunoda up into P2, whilst Colapinto made a move for P11. As there's a yellow flag out on track, I can't tell what, it's Alex Albon, look up on turn 12. Let's have a look.
Turn 11 now.
He's got DRS here on, I believe that's Pierre Gasly. And then he just goes deep.
They took a gamble,
and that's
and it was
just
just
not helping Albon or Williams at all. Albon already being swooped all over by Carlos Sainz this season. He's only struggling even further. And now Sainz to the inside, up into P9. Tsunoda up into P2, best quote I've ever heard. Yeah, I may have messed up, but yeah, the fight continues down here. But also there's the fight for the lead, as you can see here. Lando Norris overtakes Bottas, and Piastri follows suit, but Bottas is going to have the inside line. He's going to have a better run, he holds off, but there's Piastri just swooping past, as the fight over 5th has actually chimed in, I'd say, as there's a very big possibility Verstappen, Porsche, Russell and Perez could join in for this fight for first, as there's Porsche moving himself up into 5th position for about the 80th time this race. And yes, we're only 8 laps in. Just shows how many times they've swapped positions yet got nowhere. But who's going to swap positions for the first time and take the lead is Piastri, as Piastri is your 3rd leader of the race so far. It's been really a little yo-yo between Norris and Bottas, but now the Red Bull leads. It's the first time they've done it on raw pace in a long while, and now they've got a decent shot at trying to spoil V-Carb's party. You can see Piastri's just dropped the lot behind him, 1.8 seconds roughly at the moment, as they just go down the hill into the valley through the S section. But yeah, COTA, a very technical circuit. It's kind of a blend of Abu Dhabi, Silverstone, and then Istanbul. It's as if all 3 of them had like a baby. But yeah, as anyways, Norris is trying to pull himself back into the fight with Oscar Piastri, not trying to let the Red Bull run away for too long. However, I think it could be a few laps until a move gets made for the leader, Carlos Sainz mechanical fault. He's still fighting P9 with Yuki Tsunoda, Daniel Ricciardo, Colapinto, so on and so forth. As there's Bottas and Leclerc. Leclerc up onto the podium. It's a double podium for Red Bull. Last time they had one of these, round 2 of this season. Just shows how long ago it was. As there's a yellow flag out on track.
Something's
I cannot
happened.
see where it is, but
Looks
it's
like
a
the
crash
Alpine.
involving multiple cars. It's Isaac Adjar and Andrea Kimi Antonelli to the inside in the first corner. Adjar just goes wide and clips Antonelli. As Albon, he's your first to pit here. We're 10 laps in and he's already disposed of his first set of tyres. To be fair, those on softs probably will be considering about doing the same thing in a matter of laps time. As Isaac Adjar has been given a 5-second penalty for causing a collision here with Andrea Kimi Antonelli, for the specific reason forcing another drive off track, if I'm right. As there's Leclerc down the inside of Piastri and up into P2 here, as Lando Norris has actually cleared Piastri quite quickly and just pulled away Ricciardo. Even more of a mechanical fault. Alpine TP watching this, probably doing it with one eye open and the other one closed, just as it's really been a horror for them so far. As Charles Leclerc promotes himself into the top 2, as there's Russell finally saying he's had enough with Perez, as he's now P7. He's finally got past his own teammate, which is a statement and a half to make. As into the pits goes Bottas, there's Russell even overtaking Verstappen in the same sector. As that's now Russell 2 places in a matter of corners. He's P5 as Perez followed the move through into turn 1, while Bottas has came out P17 here. You can actually see what dent he makes in a moment. As you can see, he is trying to catch Liam Lawson, Franco Colapinto and Oliver Bearman, who are the 3 cars just ahead. He will really want to dispose of these 2 in particular as soon as possible, as there's Lawson pulling himself to the inside, overtaking Bearman and just shimmying his way through this section of the track now. How long will Lawson be able to hang on? I'll give him 1 straight and then I think Bearman may actually be back ahead, but Bottas has really caught up to it now. So can the Haas rise to the challenge, as there goes Bearman to the inside, slingshots himself past, and that's the Aston back up into P15. Bottas, he's losing valuable time now. Every single corner he is stuck behind these lot. The longer he has to wait for fresh air and wait for an opportunity to gain some time on his rivals. As currently up front it's a 1-4 for Red Bull, 2-3 for VCarb, and if I'm right, Bottas should fit roughly in the middle of that, but due to the hold up of Lawson could be a bit offset, maybe P3, P4. As now Bottas, he's clear of Bearman. He now wants to hunt down this kerfuffle, who are currently in the midst of a fight over P10. Alonso, Hamilton, Gasly, Ricciardo, Colapinto. A very wide variety of names, but you can't really rule any of them out until they've ended up dictating who will be where. As you can see there, Colapinto overtaking Daniel Ricciardo for no, not Colapinto overtaking Ricciardo, as Ricciardo's held himself strongly and he's still P13. Piastri now limps through the pits. Good time to question where the Haas comes out, as there's Colapinto dueling with Ricciardo. Piastri has just met the pit exit if I'm right, and there's Bottas. So yeah, he should be out P3, But now Bottas and Piastri are both stuck in this traffic. Could be a big opportunity for the likes of Terry Porsche, Russell and Perez to gain time, as it's going to be an undercut for those in 14th and 12th at the moment, but it's going to be a massive overcut for those in the top 5, as there's a yellow flag out on track and it's a safety car. A safety car has been deployed. Perfect timing for the race leaders, as let's have a look at what's happened here. It's the Isaac Hadjar in the Alpine. He's DNF'd numerous times over the last few races and he just spins it. Just loses the back end completely in that Alpine. And if I'm right, that is his 3rd DNF in 3 events. But Andrea Antonelli has retired. Let's also have a look at this. He's ended up spinning in the exact same corner. That's why he's ended up DNFing from this race. And you can see now, everyone but likes of Bottas and Piastri get a free pit stop, and same said for Sainz. So where does Bottas and Piastri come out? Bottas P6, 7th for Piastri, 8th for Verstappen. So yeah, those on the hard. Oh no, it's because Antonelli hit Hadjar by the looks of it, because Antonelli received a 5-second, but as both of them cars can't serve it, it will be a grid drop for next race. And I believe it's Mexico. Someone in chat, if they have access to it, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, it's a safety car now. Red Bull lead it with a checkered flag pattern between V-Carb and Ferrari, 2-4 and 3-5 for the 2 respective teams. As now it's a great chance for Russell to find some points on Norris in this championship, as we are going to be approaching the more Middle Eastern stage of the season, if I'm correct. It's Mexico, then I want to say Vegas and Brazil, then it's the Middle East group of Bahrain, Jeddah, so on and so forth. So we will have a very interesting season opener. No, not season opener, season finale when it comes to Abu Dhabi, if this championship fight continues all the way till then. But one mistake now for either Norris or Russell, and it could be safe to assume that's their championship all over. But yeah, you can just see safety car formation at the moment. Looks like the track's being cleared. It's a matter of fact. Oh, so Brazil and Vegas are the other way round. My bad. Then it's Jeddah, Bahrain, Qatar, Abu Dhabi. Thanks for that, Barry. But yeah, main point is we've got quite a few Saudi Arabian events. Well, not Saudi Arabian, Middle Eastern events in the coming rounds, as it will be what ends this season more than anything. But then Jeddah, it's a circuit where there could be numerous of crashes. And if so, we already saw a very busy Miami and Canadian GP where there were 2 VSCs and a red flag in the first 10 laps at Miami. No, not at Miami, at Canada, and the final 20 in Miami. And if they aren't too technical of circuits, imagine what it's going to be like when the circuits are really technical, such as that Jeddah GP. Maybe even Las Vegas in the coming races time. Which, if I'm right, should be done on Sunday. Don't quote me, but yeah. So yeah, safety car in this lap. It's a lap 18 of 56, if I've got it right. Yeah, it's a lap 18. We will be going underway on lap 19. As safety car has ended. When will Charles Leclerc run? He's ran quite early, I'd say. As there's already a yellow flag for Alex Albon, who's had a spin on turn 19. Let's quickly watch that. He spun it under the safety car. As that's him going right round. But anyways, back to the action. Charles Leclerc leads from Norris to Russell to Porsche then Perez. But who will end up reigning victorious here in the state of Texas? As now into a great opportunity for some overtaking. Carlos Sainz mechanical fault on the same lap that Albon spun, which is very concerning for Williams, as Behrman's just been overtaken by Lawson a bit further downfield, or it looks like they're in the midst of a little war. As now Russell fending off Toro Porsche. Charles Leclerc's had an amazing start. He set the fastest lap of the race as well. So it's looking really good for Red Bull, who I'd say really have been in control of this race since Piastri took the lead. They've seemed to be the quickest car this weekend, which hasn't really happened over the last few months. I think last time I labelled them as the quickest car, it was literally March in this save. And now, possibility that it doesn't end up coming round till, I believe it's September now. But yeah, Norris anyways, he's on the back of Charles Leclerc. He's just set fastest lap. To the inside he goes, and up into P1, as there's Russell fending off Toro Porsche for P3. Oscar Piastri, however, in the second of Red Bulls, trying to get his way back into the top 6 of this race, as Valtteri Bottas is currently the obstacle between them and that top 6. To the inside goes Piastri. You can see there's Yuki Tsunoda. As Piastri's got past, Yuki Tsunoda basically mirror image of the move, and that's 2 cars gaining a place into that very, very annoying set of corners, especially for drivers, because it's sharp corners all the way throughout. As there was Porsche just moving up into the top 3 now. It's currently a double podium for VCARB. Looks quite certain that they are going to win the Constructors here, as this form has just been amazing. But as of recent, Porsche's 2 back-to-back DNFs, so yeah, he needs this redemption drive, as Sainz even more severe of a mechanical fault. We are currently looking at 10 DNFs since Miami, which was a part of the predictions for the triple header as such. And there was Hood get most DNFs. One of them said 8. The other person who done it said 13. So yeah, this could be what determines it. As Lando Norris fighting with Charles Leclerc now, but there's George Russell. He's up into P2, and Porsche making move for P3. It's got even worse for Lando Norris. He was leading less than 2 laps ago, as there's Perez fighting Piastri over P5. But dearie me for Norris, leading about 2 laps ago, P4 now. As there's Porsche promoting himself into P2, but he's going to go for Charles Leclerc to the inside, and he's ahead. That's a very easy move done for the VCARB. Last time this VCARB finished a race, he won the race. So does it mean he's going to win again in the States? Last time he won, of course, Singapore, which was round 14. DNF round 15 and 16. And there's George Russell into the top 2. He's going to start hunting down Terry Porsche, as this could be a championship winning drive, as currently Russell has completely mastered it. He seems so much more comfortable with his machinery than the most, as there's Leclerc trying to fight round the outside of turn 2 to the inside of turn 3 for Leclerc, but Russell just able to give him that pinch, and therefore P2. But yeah, if you aren't, well, yeah, if you haven't been here from the start, quite a bit's happened. Hadjar and Antonelli crashed twice between each other. 3 cars split the top 6, and Red Bull, I'd say, are the quickest car here. Best way to put it. Which is a big upset for the 2 teams making a charge for the title, which are Ferrari and VCARB, because Red Bull really are starting to get in their way here, because Porsche, he's got an opportunity to try and run away, as there's Russell fending Norris off to the outside, but Norris gets past, as now Norris can make it a VCARB 1-2. Last time I said that, a VCARB crashed out a lap later. So let's hope I've not put my commentator's curse on it once more here, as Norris 2.6 seconds off his teammate, as they're both the top 2 in this race. But now you can see here it's just a little train. Perez is now getting a bit annoyed. He's like, I kind of want my P4 back, because he's in a fight with Porsche and Leclerc here. And they're both in the podium places at the moment. But then Russell, his title rival's on podium. So it really does depend on who Ferrari want to prioritise, as there's Charles Leclerc trying to fight against the VCARB, but VCARB stands strong and stays 1-2. As I haven't put my commentator's curse on it yet, because it's been over a lap now since Norris made it a 1-2. But anyways, Leclerc to the inside, he's got so much more top speed, and that makes the move insanely easy for the Red Bull. And that will put Norris down to P3, as there's a yellow flag out on track. I can't actually spot what it was. Crash involving multiple cars, however. One of them being Liam Lawson. As I couldn't tell what front wing that was. But I want to have suspicion it was Daniel Ricciardo's. But then I don't think it was. So yeah, I'm useless when it comes to guessing, as it's Alonso Lawson under investigation, no penalties given. As you can see here, there could be a penalty going Ferrari's way, and when I mean that, I mean a loss of places and loss of points, especially for George Russell, as Perez really upping the aggression now. He's really trying to gun for a top 4. But I think they all are in the top 5, to say the least. You can have a look at tyre percentages. They look all basically even. So it looks like there's one more stop inbound. But yeah, you can have a look here. If I've done maths right, anyone outside the top 15, the leaders will clear when they pit. And when I say leaders, I include Sergio Perez at the lowest. Piastri's just out that window, he's best of the rest here. As currently, there's Leclerc to the inside of Norris. Norris defenceless, and therefore down to P3 here in that VCARB. But look at Porsche, he's just managing to keep himself clear of the field. Look how far back the others are, a good 2.5 seconds or so. As there was Norris having a glance into that hairpin for turn 8. But he's going to go with DRS down next straight and promote himself. As there's Perez past George Russell. George Russell forfeiting even more points to his championship rival here. An insanely big downfall on their way. And now there's Leclerc trying to bring it a bit more down to earth for this title fight, but wasn't able to get past Norris. And by the looks of it, they are starting to catch the likes of Théo Pourchaire up front, who looked unreachable about 2 laps ago. He is now in reach. To be exact, he is in reach. He is literally under threat from Lando Norris, Leclerc, Perez and Russell all now. As there's Norris making a move. Looks like that was some team orders by VCarb based off the spontaneity of that overtake. And now Norris has a chance to run away. As you can see, Pourchaire holding up the cars behind like a treat. Russell almost clipping Perez there. Could have gone out horribly. As Pourchaire, by the looks of it, lobbed off the road. But no, it was a lock-up in turn 12. Which now sees Pourchaire go from leading at the end of lap 31 to out of the window at the end of lap 32. Into the pits he goes. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. It's Pierre Gasly who's had a spin. Let's have a look. Just very rookie mistakes. But as 2 errors made in that same corner. But one big thing to point out is Mercedes. They've really been a shocking force as of recently. Yuki Tsunoda putting in some amazing performances throughout this set of races. As he could see himself into the top 5. As now he gets DRS on Oscar Piastri. To the inside he goes of the Red Bull. And up into top 5 he goes. But irrespective of that, the lead is Norris to Russell, to Leclerc, then Perez. As there's Perez promoting himself onto the podium, making a double Ferrari podium here. Ferrari just looking amazing at the moment. But so are VCarb, they're 2 teams at the very top of their game. If it continues this way, I don't see them dropping backwards next season. Next season, the team performances are going to be reset. It's just going to be the drivers and that which will be changed up. But statistics are also going to be up in the air. I can rumour one of them. And it's Lewis Hamilton. He's dropped from 92. Which was what he was at the start of the season. It's dropped fairly severely. As he's just had a really poor season in the Sauber. I think he scored like 4 points in the last 5 races. It's been insane how far back he's been. As there's Norris regaining the lead here on George Russell. As we are getting close to 20 laps to go here. I don't think anyone is going to be able to go to the end apart from those who have pitted for a second time this race, as Yuki Tsunoda has just entered the pit. Where does he come out though? in this race. Bottas has followed through. Looks like Yuki's going to come out around Oliver Bearman, as there's Bearman going up the hill. Hamilton just ahead, which isn't ideal for Yuki, as he's going to be right behind him throughout this S section, as Alonso has just left the pits behind Gasly, and Bottas just behind about 4 seconds off Verstappen, who's right behind this battle here. Yuki Tsunoda, however, DRS on Lewis Hamilton. Surely it's going to be a move. He got close, but not yet. However, the two leaders have pitted. Into the pits goes Russell, and now he starts to limber down the pit lane. He's going to be ahead of Norris, who looks like he's had a pit stop issue here, and that could be absolutely massive in this championship, as Porsche has jumped and cleared both of them by a long shot. 5 seconds between Porsche and Russell now, with about 20 laps to go here. So yeah, I think it's clear that Porsche is going to win the second time in a row where he's finished, and it's a really big redemption to back-to-back DNFs, as Perez now into the pits. Charles Leclerc takes the lead of this race, as there's the yellow flag. It's Yuki Tsunoda, but let's have a look. Whilst
Here we are then at the
Perez
11th
is still in the
corner.
pits. It's Franco Colapinto
so
by
close.
the looks of it, not Yuki.
And the
But
contact
Alonso
between the
just
cars,
clips back of him,
inevitable. Now,
and
their
Alonso
confidence will
keeps
have
going,
taken
but
a
you can
hit
see
with
how
that.
slidey that Aston is. As Perez there's Russell. Perez is ahead of Lando Norris. Just shows how big of a mistake was made, as Yuki has actually cleared Oscar Piastri. Fernando Alonso 5-second penalty here. Yuki seems very comfortable for a top 6 now, as yeah, he's cleared Oscar Piastri here. There's been some great performances for that Mercedes as of recent, as Norris fighting Perez here. Can Perez hang on and keep P4? There goes Norris up into the top 4. But Perez still trying to fight back. It's not done until Perez says so at this rate, because Perez now DRS on the V-carb. 2 turn 1 we go, and back up into top 4 goes the V-carb. Yuki Tsunoda, in fact, fastest lap of the race. He is finding some amazing pace out there in the Mercedes. As I'll be honest, they've been waiting for some really good results, and in this string of American races, it's really came to light for them, as there's Norris promoting himself up the field once more, but Perez fighting back and holds off the threat. However, despite them, Théo Pourchaire, in a land of his own is the best way to put it. He's really got no care for anyone else on the grid. As fastest lap just handed to Valtteri Bottas here, who's in P9. He's having a fairly poor event, to say the least. He's been rather off the pace, as it seems like there's a fight brewing over P7, Piastri, Verstappen, Bottas. If they can catch Yuki, then it's going to be a 4-car fight over P6, which is kind of insane. Oh yeah, Leclerc now in the pits. He comes out just nicely placed in front of Yuki. It's Red Bull strategically putting their drives out of the fight for the top 4. But as these things stand, it looks good for Porsche, but not as much Norris, who's just fought his way, or attempted to fight his way, back past Perez. And at the moment, these two in third and fourth are catching George Russell by the slightest at the moment, who is also catching Porsche with 15 laps to go now. You can have a look. There's Norris to the inside of Sergio Perez. Finally, Norris clears the Ferrari, but is it going to last a full lap? As you can see, Russell really trying to work his way back up. You can see there's the V-carb going through the hairpin, and Russell just being able to brake so much later than the young Frenchman. And now Russell has dropped the ball from the V-carb and Ferrari, and now Russell could take the win here. Fastest lap of the race for the Ferrari to the inside. He's got Porsche past in one attempt. As there's a yellow flag briefly, it was Pierre Gasly who had a lock up in turn 13. While we wait for the next straight to come around, let's just have a look at Pierre Gasly's hiccup. As it's there, just goes deep and into the runoff. But despite that, it's Ferrari versus V-carb for first and second, and Ferrari versus V-carb over third and fourth. But this time it's Porsche to the inside of Russell. Is he going to get past? No. But Norris, on the other hand, does get past Sergio Perez. That's just a bit further back. There's Verstappen fighting Piastri for P7. Valtteri Bottas just sitting patiently behind him, hoping for them to crash. Yet that didn't come. So Verstappen P7 now. Oscar Piastri P8. As Perez has regained P3 on Lando Norris. But there's just so much to look at now. So many cars fighting in the points in particular, as George Russell has just lost his place. But you can see there, Norris to the inside. He had a chance to fight, but wasn't able to. Bottas is now ahead of this group, as Verstappen drops to 9th. Liam Lawson looks very much comfortable to get P10 here, which is another good point for McLaren. But yeah. Now, with just over 10 laps left, it's very much clear that Porsche is in the fight with Russell for the win, and then Norris and Perez over third. However, is that going to be the outcome? It's been an amazingly strong season for Théo Pourchaire in his debut season. He's driven very well, but who we haven't seen best of so far is Piastri. He's struggling here in P8 in the Red Bull. He's being outdone clear as day by Charles Leclerc, who's in P5 at the moment. He's the only Red Bull to win a race this season, and he's won multiple. Piastri, however, sitting around P8 instead of helping Leclerc push up the field. There's currently 10 laps to go. Porsche versus Russell into turn 1. Porsche not able to. Russell just a bit better traction in order to hang on, as Perez is now P3 as well. As it very much looks like they are starting to catch the top two once more. We can have a glance at leader to see whether or not Perez is actually catching Russell or not. More than anything, I'd say it's fluctuating around 4.5, 5 seconds. As Porsche very close to dropping off here. He's just hanging on by a thread, as I believe they are coming up to Fernando Alonso to lap him in this race, which just shows his season's gone southbound. He started so well at the start, but now it's all just faded. All his ability has just dropped off. And that's the downfall of age sometimes. As Alonso very quickly let himself by. But, yeah, now Porsche really has to try and keep up with Russell. He can't let Russell drop off. And when Porsche takes the lead, he would want to be behind Colapinto for DRS zone. And Ricciardo's included, as they are fighting over P16 just up the road. But you can see, just slightly in the frame, Perez and Norris every now and then, who are 4 seconds off Porsche and about 4.5 off Russell. Porsche, however, to the inside, wasn't able to brake late enough, as there was Norris moving up onto the podium for the sake of his title fight. Porsche now DRS, big opportunity to catch Russell and make a move to the inside. He has a little peak, but no, not today again. But one thing which has caught me off is since Norris overtook Sergio Perez this lap, they've gained a second. And now Porsche to the inside. Can he make the move? He's going to be ahead, but Russell just better line covers him off. The top two now fighting aggressively, and that's allowing Lando Norris and Sergio Perez to creep into frame here. They're getting closer and closer every lap. But is it too late to mount a challenge for the win by both drivers? As there's Perez overtaking Norris by pure merit into turn 12. As Porsche seems to have just dropped out of DRS range of George Russell, seemed to be a final push by the V-carb and wasn't able to, as there's Russell who clears Colapinto in greater effect as Norris has re-promoted himself to P3. Could it be an option that V-carb revert the positions this late in the race if Norris catches Porsche and is still P3 for the sake of Norris's championship? But then they'll also have to filter in Porsche's championship to Perez. Does Norris have that championship lead he can afford to lose an extra 3 points of this weekend? I don't think so. It's tight, but it's a very touch and go moment of this championship, as they've just cleared Daniel Ricciardo, as Perez has moved up into P3. Porsche, however, he's just hanging back on. He's back within a second. Is he going to stay there though? He gets a slightly weaker exit and just outside of DRS range. Alonso mechanical fault once more. But there goes Norris to the inside of Sergio Perez. Surely it's P3. Yes, it is. As laps are still ticking by quite quickly. as we are about to enter the final 3 laps here at COTA, with George Russell leading, followed by Porsche, Norris, then Perez, with Charles Leclerc a good 8 seconds down the road, as Perez moves himself back up into P3. But what's been a massive shock is the pole man. He's been beaten by his championship rival, who qualified P8 here, of George Russell. Just shows how this race has all gone wrong, really, for Lando Norris. As there's a VSC 3 laps to go, it's a Lewis Hamilton, but it's became a red flag as Hamilton and Behrman have a moment in turn 1. Let's have a look. Behrman hits Hamilton on the apex and they just go off, and it causes a red flag, which does mean we will get some more racing, but it is 2 more DNFs, meaning that out of the triple header, for those still watching for the sake of the predictions, 12 DNFs,
is moments away
as it does look a fairly empty grid. As 5 red lights are up for this sprint race of 1 lap, and away we go. George Russell gets away well. Norris to the outside of Porsche. Behrman handed a 5-second penalty as they now go through the S's. Is Norris going to be able to pick out an easy move on Porsche? But it looks like George Russell's going to win it here. He's already a second clear of Porsche, and this is where Norris will have to make an overtake on his teammate. It's the second time since Singapore that we've had a final lap restart. If I'm right, first time Norris won it, no, Bottas won it, and this time George Russell rounds the final corner to win in COTA, Porsche second, and yeah, that's just a mess back there.
Russell wins it. First over the
George
line.
Russell wins in COTA.
Sometimes.
So yeah, Russell up 7, 1:34.8 is the fastest lap for the Ferrari, with Teo Porsche P2, Lando Norris in P3. Sergio Perez takes home P4 with Charles Leclerc P5, Valtteri Bottas in 6th, Oscar Piastri 7th, Yuki Tsunoda comes home 8th, scoring good points for Mercedes. 9th is Verstappen, and 10th Liam Lawson, who picks up more points for McLaren. Pierre Gasly just missing out there in P11. Albon P12, Sainz in 13th. He went down 4, with 14th being Daniel Ricciardo, 15th Franco Colapinto, 16th Alonso, 17th Hamilton, 18th Behrman, 19th Hadjar, and last Antonelli. Hamilton, Behrman, Hadjar and Antonelli all failing to finish. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this race. I will probably be back later for one more race, but for now, goodbye.